be healed. I wanna believe there's beauty here. 'Cause oh, I get so tired of holding on. I can't let go, I can't move on. I wanna believe there's meaning here. How many times have you heard me cry out, God, please take this? How many times have you given me strength to just keep breathing? Oh, I need you, God, I need you now. Standing on a road I didn't plan, wondering how I got to where I am. I'm trying to hear that still small voice. I'm trying to hear above the noise. How many times have you heard me cry out, God, please take this? How many times have you given me strength to just keep breathing? Oh, I need you, God, I need you now. Oh, I walk through the shadows, and I'm so afraid. Please stay right beside me. Every single step I take. How many times have you heard me cry out? How many times have you given me strength? How many times have you heard me cry out, God, please take this? How many times have you given me strength to just keep breathing? Oh, I need you, God, I need you now. I need you now. Oh, I need you, God, I need you now. I need you now. I need you now. Your baby blues, so full of wonder. Your curly cues, your contagious smile. And as I watch you start to grow up, all I can do is hold you tight, knowing clouds will rise up, storms will rise, but you will be safe in my arms. Rains will pour down, waves will crash on around, but you
Hello. So we're live. Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to the
To the
very
very
first
first
webinar
webinar
of
of
Working
Working
Mommah in
Mommah in
partnership
partnership
with
with
JCI San
JCI
Juan
San Juan
Pinaglabanan
Pinaglabanan
and
and
Rikkis
Miktinig Youth
Organization.
Organization.
And of
And of
course,
course,
with
with
the
the
life-altering
life-altering
pandemic
pandemic
that
that
the
the
whole
whole
world
world
has
has
experienced,
experienced,
we
we
know
know
that
that
although
although
physical
physical
threats
threats
are
are
actually
actually the
one
one
of
of
the
the
biggest
biggest
threats
threats
now
now
because
because
of
of
the
the
COVID
COVID
pandemic,
pandemic,
we
we
also
also
know
know
and
and
realize
realize
that
that
mental
mental
health
health
is
is
of
of
primary
primary
importance
importance
because
because
it
it
can
can
happen
happen
to
to
anyone.
anyone.
Mas
Mas
nakakatakot
nakakatakot
nga
nga
po
po
dahil
dahil
these
these
are
are
the
the
invisible
invisible
ones
ones
that
that
may
may
be
be
afflicting
afflicting
anyone.
anyone.
Wala
Wala
pong
pong
pinipili.
pinipili
At
at
wala
wala
tayong
tayong
mga
mga
sinyales.
sinyales.
Or
Or
meron
meron
po
po
ba?
ba?
Well,
Well,
today,
today, here
during
during
our
our
first
first
webinar,
webinar,
okay,
please be kind. This is our very first webinar now. So we are still trying to get the feel of the technical side. Hindi po pala talaga madali ang mag-set ng webinar. But since this is very close to our hearts, because nakakatakot dahil hindi natin alam, baka yung mga anak natin ay nag-undergo na ng mga mental um, illnesses. It doesn't have to be what we always see in TV na kailangan kinakaladkad sa straitjacket. Hindi po ganun ngayon. Ang tawag po sa kailangan ay invisible wounds because this can be stress, anxiety, phobia, insecurities. Marami po ngayong kinakaharap ang ating mga kabataan. And we are so lucky today to be joined by beautiful mamas and mental
at any time during this webinar. So let us know if you don't want your question published on the online forum following the presentation. Let's start our webinar now with our resident doctor. He is a registered psychiatrist, currently the Ejercito resident at Green City Medical Center, a consultant psychiatrist at St. John Custodial and Psychiatric Therapeutic Home, a consultant psychiatrist at Reality Therapeutic Clinic Incorporated, and a courageous COVID frontliner. Talaga po nandyan siya during this pandemic na simula pa lang in March. So welcome, Dr. J.M. Chu.
Hello,
Hi,
magandang
Doc
hapon.
J.M.
Magandang hapon, Rikki. How are you?
Well, I'm very, very happy na kahit napaka-busy ng schedule mo, alam ko kung saan-saan ka nagpupunta, sakay ng ambulansya, just to save COVID patients.
Yeah,
Alam po
I
natin
know.
yan.
I
Thank
know.
you for sparing us this afternoon to really
Thank you so
share
much.
with,
Thank you so much
with our
for inviting
parents.
me also, no? Alam ko talagang everyone's stressful, no? With the ongoing pandemic, and then of course, whatever we can do to help the community, gagawin natin, no? Para lang kahit papaano, maintindihan nila yung mga pinagdadaanan nila, whatever be it emotionally, mentally, physically, no, spiritually in some sense, no, mas naintindihan nila at paano makakapag-cope sila ng maayos in these trying times, no.
Oo nga, Doc. At saka na-realize ko rin na kung ang mga adults nga, they undergo so much stress, what more the vulnerable sector in our society, which are our
Yes,
kids. Diba?
yes.
So your long experience ba as a psychiatrist, masasabi mo ba na tumaas talaga? There's been a rise in mental health issues, especially among the children now.
Okay. Kasi the difference kasi with children kasi and adults kasi, ang adult kasi, syempre, kung may stress or maraming ways, no, para ma-overcome niya yung mga stress, no, they could actually go out, probably, may mga sports kahit paano sa bahay, or even like parang magluto sila, stress reliever yon, no, or even kahit paano may communication with friends eh. But with children kasi, hindi kasi sila masyado vocal to in terms of anong pinagdadaanan nila, no? So, in terms of kung ano yung rate ngayon ng anxiety sa kids, medyo mas mataas talaga. Kasi nga, una-una, malaking factor yung yung pagtanggal lang ng school, no?
Oo
Yung
nga,
pagiging
oo,
home
no?
sa school nila, malaking factor yun na parang nabawasan sila ng social interaction with other kids. So, ito, medyo malaking, ano kasi to yung parang, paano mo ma-develop yung skills mo, yung confidence mo. So, medyo talagang, and then now, the advent of social media also. So parang lahat na lang parati nakatutok na lang sa camera, sa iPad nila, sa tablet. So talagang nababawasan, nai-increase talaga yung na anxiety ng mga kids, no? So nagkakaroon tayo ng mga social phobias na, and meron tayong mga different kinds of anxiety like separation anxiety na pag tinanggal mo yung tablet nila, galit sila sa'yo, no? Or
Tama.
parang nagkakaroon sila ng depression because parang for them, ito yung security blanket nila, yung tablet nila eh. This is how their world evolved now eh. So pag kinuha mo yan, o pinagalitan mo, binigyan mo sila ng time limit about it, nagkakaroon sila ng issue. So maraming mga reasons, no? So that's why we need to really take note kung ano talaga mga kailangan natin i-watch out pag nagkakaroon na ganito mga problems at home.
Doc, ayan, yung mga kailangang i-watch out kasi lalo na ngayon, di ba? Tama ka, ODL yun. ODL is online distance learning. Ayan, yun yung homeschooling ng mga kids ngayon. Ano yung kailangan naming i-watch out as parents? Kasi syempre nakatutok sila usually the whole day, di ba? For their classes. Tapos after nun, tama ka rin, ang pang-stress reliever nila, mag-manood ng YouTube, mag-TikTok, online gaming. Is there anything that we can watch out for pag ganyan? Maliban na bigyan namin sila ng time limit sa mga gadgets nila.
Tama lang naman yun, magbigay ka ng time limit, no? Sa gadget because, syempre, especially ngayon sa pandemic, importante ngayon yung dapat may rules kayo sa bahay, no? You have to set certain rules talaga na pag sinabing, ito yung time lang for gadgets, and most of the times, kailangan spend time with the family, no? Kailangan meron kayong learn how to do the old ways na maglaro kayo ng board games. This is very important because doon kasi nakikita ninyo na yung interaction with your kids, maganda yun. Baking is actually another form of parang entertainment also with the kids, parang bonding din ninyo. So yung mga dapat natin i-watch out kasi, for example, like ganyan, medyo stress sila. Wala naman kasi tayong tinatawag na norms eh, no? Na basically parang sinasabi natin na, ito yung dapat na ugali ng isang bata, typically, no? Kasi in each household, may kanya-kanyang rules yan, no? Growing up. There's certain household na medyo konting liberated, so, kids are allowed to speak up, no? Kung anong gusto nila, hindi nila gusto. And there's certain households din also na pag yung culture medyo strict sila, no? Hindi nakakapagsalita ng kung anong gusto sabihin ng mga bata. So normally, either the parents talaga ang magdidictate kung ano yung gusto mangyari. And of course, kasama na doon yung culture natin as a Filipino. Doon maraming mga factors involved, no? So kailangan talaga you need to, of course, teach your kids, no, to express kung ano yung mga dapat nila sabihin, anong nararamdaman nila.
Them to be vocal.
Yes, you should encourage them, no, to be vocal, no. Not na parang hindi yung magko-complain, but yung magsalita kung ano yung sa tingin nila yung tama. And then you also guide them. Kasi importante yun eh, you guide them how they should speak, no? Because kung hindi mo sa gina-guide kasi, of course, iba na sasabihin, parang nagko-complain na. Once kasi nagko-complain, meaning may problem talaga. So, kailangan mo silang
there's an inner...
Yes, there's an issue talaga.
No?
Yes. So, kailangan mo silang guide na, bakit ganito yung feelings mo? How can I help? I need to understand kung anong pinagdadaanan mo, anong mga naiisip mo, and what can we do about it, no, to make you feel better. Mga ganong question because hindi po pwedeng pabayaan na lang eh, no, yung mga ganyan because as the kid grows older, baka magkaroon ng resentment sa family, sa parents, so mas delikado pa kasi gano'n, no, dagdag anxiety dun sa kids din.
Oo. So, Doc, meron bang signs na my kid is actually going through some mental health difficulties now?
meron bang signs na hey, mukhang kailangan kong kausapin yung anak ko. And di ba, I would just like to ask also, I would just like to clarify also, na mental health issues can afflict even as young as toddlers or 7 years old. Is there an age range na para mas magabayan kaming mga parents?
Okay. Pag sinabi mo kasing science kasi, wala kasing clear-cut science kasi yan, no? Of course, we need to monitor, no? Yung pinaka-basic talaga is yung behavior na talaga at home. No? If there's a sudden shift of behavior ba, once na if the kid is more active ba before, tapos biglang naging isolate siya sa sarili niya, or mas less na siya talkative, di na ganun kasigla, kung napansin niyo parang hindi na siya as lively as before, and he has or she has tendency to less play with the siblings, other siblings, yun, pwede mo observation yun. Pangalawa is yung eating problem, no, eating habit ng bata. Kasi syempre, pag humina yung pagkain ng bata, no, chances are baka may sakit talaga or may issue or may pinagdadaanan yung bata. Or nakita mo naman yung excessive naman yung pagkain ng bata, para napapansin mo, puro na lang chocolates, puro na lang chips, puro na lang lahat. So, you ask also kung ano nangyari, no? Pangatlo would be the sleeping habit ng bata. Kasi sometimes, when the child kasi, pag pinatiyasabi mo, sleep ka na at a certain time, ang limit mo lang is 9 o'clock. And then napapansin mo, if you go and check the kid every now and then, gising pa siya or parang nag-iingay-ingay pa sa kwarto niya, no, na mga batang 12, 1 o'clock, and then pag ginising mo the next day, matamlay siya, parang pagod, kulang sa tulog. So these are things that you need to observe, no? So kailangan medyo, ano ka lang, hindi naman kailangan i-confront mo siya agad. So kailangan mo na i-observe mo na siguro kung ang sleeping pattern is medyo hindi na ganun kaganda for 3 or more days na, doon kailangan mo na siyang tingnan talaga at kausapin. So with regards sa question ko na kung may mga age limit kung kailan nagsa-start, no? Kasi there are certain, may isa tayo kasing yung psychologist before, si Ejercito, no? If you happen to know him, may ginawa kasi siya parang mga age bracket, no? Na once na you reach a certain age, kailangan ma-achieve mo to itong kasing behavior. Pag nakuha mo to, you progress to another behavior. So pag hindi may certain point yan, yung isang age group na hindi niya na-achieve or parang tumigil siya dyan, magkakaroon tayo ng problem. Especially sa age ng mga 5 to 13, no? These are the age na nakukuha yung competency, diba? Competency, there. ng kid, no? So ito yung age na parang kailangan nilang mag-work on their own so they will feel inferior sa age group na yon.
So kids start as early as 5 years old.
Yes. Oo. Actually, early as as in pagbata pa lang. No, kasi importante yung age 0 to age, I think, a year and a half, yung trust and mistrust. Yung pagbibigay mo ng pag-feeding habit ng bata, pagbibigay mo ng laruan, pagkakarga mo, pag umiiyak siya. These are things na kailangan very, very important paglaki at ng isang kid talaga.
Siguro, Doc, at ngayon pa lang, sa umpisa pa lang, we have to establish also, no, yung the usual stigma na meron na pag sinabing mental health issues, kasi like the usual, like yung pinapalabas sa mga movies, di ba? Nako, ibig sabihin yan, kailangan nang maglagay sa ospital, or kailangan talaga nagwawala, or yung mga tipong parang sisisa, kumbaga, parang sa No Limit Tangere, di ba? Ayun yung peg kasi, di ba? The usual peg ng mga Pilipino, lalo I think in Asian countries, na hindi naman tayo ganun ka-open. But now we have to remove that kind of thinking and realize that mental health problems can afflict anyone. It can be as simple as stress, diba? Tama? Stress, phobia, insecurities. And these things, kapag hindi naagapan, can lead to bigger problems when they're older.
Yes. Tama yun.
So, ang questions pa.
Ang maganda yun, actually, sa practice namin ngayon, we are very lucky, no? Because nowadays, a lot of Pinoys are more open, no, to
Mhm.
their mental health issues nga compared than before sa mga senior mga doctors ko dati-dati pa talagang hirap talaga
Oo,
kasi for
oo.
them pag pag sinabi mong mental problem, yun, may mga psychosis na, yung mga
Yes.
medyo nagwawala na. Those are the really extreme ones na talaga. But now, kasi nowadays, yung bread and butter namin is yung mga anxieties talaga because sobrang daming nagkakaroon ng anxiety, no? Kasi nga, well, una-una, stressful yung buhay, no? Pangalawa, uh, maraming mga pinagdadaanan and certain people kasi as um, medyo mababa yung character makeup nila. So,
Oo.
mas bilis silang daanan ng depression,
Oo.
anxiety. So, basta ang ano ko lang talaga, once that you feel something is wrong, no, there's no harm or there's no fault or it's not wrong to actually to seek mental health
True. Oo. Oo.
professionals to help you. No?
Oo. Oo. Dati kasi, no, may social stigma dati, pero ngayon nga, with also kahit sa K-drama, o kaway-kaway ang mga K-drama fans dyan, it's okay not to be okay. Diba? Parang it's
Actually,
such a good
ini-encourage
message
na ako
also.
manood yan eh.
Napanood mo na
Oo.
ba?
Hindi pa. Kasi sabi kasi nila sa akin na,
Award-winning yan. O,
sabi sa akin,
kaway-kaway, see? May ano
panoorin mo
din
yan
ang
kasi
aking pagiging K-drama
relate ka
addict.
daw dyan.
Okay, Doc. Napakaraan pa naming tanong for sure. Like, ito, at the
Yes.
top of my mind, I'm sure ang dami ngayong parents kasi ang dami kong co-parents. Kaway-kaway mga co-parents ko sa Immaculate Conception Academy at Xavier School at sa iba pa mga schools dyan. We're talking about ODL. Ito lang, mabilis lang. How many hours is recommended after ODL? Okay, aside from ODL, this is part of their schooling, di ba? Ano yung hours na recommended mo for like halimbawa for the what do you call this, for the hobbies ng mga bata? Halimbawa, is there the age group like 9 to 12 or 7 to 12? Dapat 5 hours lang? Ganon? Or pag hired, just 2 hours? Ganon?
Okay. I've seen, I have clients kasi, no, who's also under ODL, no, online. Yun nga, yung learnings nga, no. So, nung nakita ko sila, yung schedule nila, medyo hectic din, no, because I saw, for example, like yung schedule nila Monday, 3 video conference na tig-iisang oras. Minsan an hour and a half yung oras ng video conference nila. So sabi ko sa kanya, hindi ka ba nahihirapan, no? Because syempre, alam ko yung attention span ng isang tao, no, for adult is only like maximum of 45 minutes na yan siya. Yung attention span, adult
Okay.
yan,
Oo.
no? Kaya mong makinig on full concentration. That's
Oo.
45
minutes lang.
siya. Yes, pinakamataas yan. But kung to certain degree, at minsan nga 25 minutes lang, yun lang kayang i-concentrate mo para makinig ka sa isang lecture eh. How much more pa yung bata, no, na, you know, nanonood siya sa online, tapos nakikinig siya, and at the back of their mind, parang, ano ba to? Parang sana nag-TikTok na lang ako or naglaro na lang ako ng Mobile Legends, gano'n. So, hindi talaga ganun ka-focus talaga, no? And then, there are certain home pa na hindi ganun ka hands-on yung mga parents, no? So, pinapabayaan nila yung mga kids. Kasi itong online learning kasi talaga, kailangan talaga hand to hand talaga yung mga parents talaga to really, you know, encourage their kids. Kasi nga, kung hindi mo magbibigyan ng tamang attention or anything, talagang sesegue talaga yung mga kids talaga. So, kailangan nakafocus ka and may certain limit lang dapat sana. Yun ang ini-encourage ko sa ano natin, no? And in terms naman sa yung mga activities, no, outside yung online learning, it depends kasi nga sa household din, no? Kung ano yung ano din ng parents din, no? I think the best limit would be 2-3 hours of computer, laptop sa isang araw. Oo, 2-3 hours siguro. Yung Facebook, kasama rin yung Facebook, TikTok, lahat-lahat, 2-3 hours per day. And then, pwede mo siyang habaan during weekends pag walang pasok para lang at least kahit paano hindi nalalayo. And then, but like I said earlier, encourage pa rin. We have to go to basic pa rin, no? maglaro or board games and all. Lahat.
Okay. Nako, ang daming nag-shoutout sa atin. Ito rin, mental health advocate. Thank you for joining us. Mamo Christine Babaw, hello daw. Doc JM, sabi ni Sarah, hello, looking good. At syempre ang aking asawa, si Chris Mathay, nanonood kasama ang aming anak na si Mishka. Nako, si Mishka, narinig mo yan, anak, 2 to 3 hours lang ang TikTok, YouTube, at saka pag Roblox natin later. Okay. Doc, at saka si Vina. Hi, Vina. Ang galing-galing talaga ni Doc JM. Okay, right now naman, Doc, we'll go back to you. But for now, siguro, na-experience na, sabi nga ni Doc JM, na mabuti ngayon para nagbago na ang panahon in the Philippines, diba? In our Philippine society, it's better now. And I think ang isang evidence niyan is that we have already passed the mental health law. And one person who was actually very vital to the passage of the mental health bill before is our next guest, is our next speaker. Actually, she's the first mental health advocate na kilala ko who was very vocal and staunch about, pushing for mental health in the Philippines. Kasi I have to admit, I was very old school. Yung mga napanood ko lang sa mainstream media, akala ko ayun lang ang sakop na mental health. So this lady here, she's a beautiful working mama, a mom of 4 boys, wife to Mikel, and of course, she's also an entrepreneur with her local skincare products. Please welcome my very good friend, Jerika Ejercito. Hi, Ika.
Hi.
Hi.
Thanks for having me today.
So, Ika, imagine,
Yes.
she has graced a lot of magazine covers for her beauty and brains. Pero paano mo naman naisip to be an advocate of mental health?
If you remember, like what you said, back in 2012, I think was a very difficult time in my life. We can get into that later, but that was around the time when I put up my mental health foundation, Be Healed Foundation, and I just felt, based through my personal experience, that there was something lacking in our society back then, and I put up that foundation for 2 purposes. Number 1, to raise awareness for mental health and put it in the forefront of our society. Diba? Hindi na siya, mawala na yung stigma. And number 2, to fiercely support the passage of the first ever mental health law. And by the grace of God, from 2012 to 2020, mental health has come so far. And so far. I mean, when I began, I don't know if you remember, I had a few friends, Ika, bakit mental health? Mag-cancer, ka na lang, awareness, o magpa-feeding program ka na lang. Mental health? I don't know, kasama ka ba doon? Or some of our friends?
I was very curious because it was something quite novel at the time. Not everybody had the courage and the guts to talk about it.
Correct.
Sabi ko nga, marami mga old school like me.
Right.
So,
so at that time, it was very difficult to raise awareness. But, I really believed, and I passionately believed that it was so needed because of my experience, dealing with severe depression for 12 years. And none of you know. You're part of, you knew me from when I was a kid. You never knew, so invisible wounds. So 12 years, I was suffering in silence. None of my family knew, they just thought, ay nako, ganyan lang si Ika, blah, blah, blah.
You were always the life of the party. Who would have thought?
Exactly. Who would have thought? But, later on, I realized, it's been 12 years that I've been suffering in silence. And I think putting up that foundation was part of my recovery, part of my healing process, to share my story, to encourage, women and teenagers like me back then to be open about what they're feeling. And I'm so happy that, ang dami ng mental health advocates ngayon. Like, it's amazing. It's so beautiful to see how this movement have grown in the past 6-7 years, So I'm really happy about that. And Yes. Go ahead.
What is actually the mental health law? What does it
Yeah.
what encompasses it as a law?
So the idea here, like I said, when I put up the foundation, two purposes: to put it in the forefront of Filipinos' conscience. And how do you do that? Through passing the law. Because when you pass the law, it acknowledges that it's real.
Yes.
That the mental health issues are real. This law took 20 years in the making,
20
Ricky.
years.
Yes, Miss
Wow.
Senator Shahani back in the 80s filed for this, and I had the privilege to actually meet her, and I had the privilege also to share my story, of all places, in the Senate. You were still
I know.
working there.
I was there.
you know yes, and I met her, and sayang lang that she wasn't able to see it, kasi diba she passed
Yeah.
before it became a law, uh 2016. But it took that long, but Miss Senator Shahadi was one of the very first
Why do
senators
you
who
think,
was.
why do you think it had to take that long for it to be passed?
Mm,
What's in the mental health? What was in the mental health bill ba that seemed to be problematic for a lot of Filipinos para maipasa siya? Is there?
it
Is
was
it,
not given the importance. It wasn't given the importance. Like you said it yourself. Pag mental health, ano lang yan, NCMH. Yung mental
mm.
hospital sa Mandaluyong, where CISA statue is right in the middle.
Oh,
So in the
really?
minds, yes, that was my second home. Well, I was in and out, but not a patient, ha? Just visiting my very good friend, the director of NCMH. Just
Mm.
to be clear, so ganun kasi yung idea ng, unfortunately, ng Filipinos noon. Pag mental health, ang baliw. Pag
Tama.
mental health, sisisa. Di ba?
Oo,
Or
oo.
tagalabas ka ba? Tagaloob ng Mandaluyong. Di ba?
There's some
That was the
stereotypes like that.
eh.
Yeah, oo.
So I think it really took a while to really change the mind and our idea of what mental health truly is. And that it affects you, it affects me, our children. So when this became real to our generation na, teka muna, parang I know what this girl is talking about. Parang hindi to yung pangbaliw-baliw lang. I know how it feels to be
Mm.
anxious. I know how it feels to be, stressed out. And these are all a part of it. It's so complex. Of course, may mga worst case scenario, but meron yung mga light cases, di ba?
Yes,
Yeah.
yes. And these are the invisible wounds nga, di
And
ba?
exactly. Yes.
Oo, oo. So, Ika, how does now that it's a law, congratulations to you and all the sponge
No.
advocates of mental health. How can actually the Filipino parents and kids benefit from it? What is it?
So there's so many technicalities, as just like every other law. Pero the whole idea of this law is to integrate mental health into different sectors of nationally. Kumbaga, dapat
Right.
kasali yan sa education. Dapat
Okay.
ang budget ng mental health sa DOH more than 5%, because for the longest
Okay.
time ang
Oo.
total budget ng DOH 5% lang sa mental health.
Okay.
You know what I
Oh,
mean?
okay.
So kailangan hanggang LGU bumabagsak yung mental health. O yung
Oo,
mga
oo.
our recent, yung mga sa what President Duterte did sa mga even addicts, 'di ba, sa bikutan?
Oo.
Yan, dapat kasali sila doon.
Oo,
Kasali sila
oo.
dapat doon. You know what I
Ang
mean? So it
galing,
has to
oo.
be integrated in every fabric of our society. Yun
Right,
yung
oo.
idea. That's the
Yes.
idea. Whether
Okay.
it is executed, that's a
It's
different
another
story.
story.
Just like,
Yes.
it's another story. Just like every other law in this country.
True,
Diba?
true.
So
Okay.
sana kung kunyari your mayor is for it or the councilors for it, pwede nilang i-practice to in the local government units.
Oo,
Para
oo.
hindi lang siya isolated sa classes. Alam mo yun, everybody can
Yes. Oo.
benefit from this law.
Yes. And of course, to
Yes.
take care of your mental health also, di ba?
Yes, correct.
everyone. It's for everyone.
Yes,
Oo.
walang pinipiling class, walang pinipiling age, walang pinipiling gender, So it's all encompassing, dapat lahat. And everyone has the right.
Kasi dati, di ba, I already also know of people who availed at a young age help from psychiatrists, child
Correct.
guidance counselors. Pero ito, ang hirap kasi it was expensive. So only the privileged
That's another
before
thing.
can actually avail of the mental health services. Pero ngayon with this law, we are encouraging everyone down to the grassroots level, to the LGU,
Ideally, yes.
ideally, to
But
implement
there's
it
a
and copy it.
problem also with the ewan ko si Doc JM if he can support this or correct it later on. There's a problem with patient and psychiatrist ratio in our country. There's 3 psychiatrists to 100,000 Filipinos.
Wow, that's how
So
much. That's how big it
yes.
is.
So
Oo.
first of all, we have a shortage of psychiatrists. So parang in the mental health law, dapat tino-train din yung mga social worker, yung mga,
Right.
yeah, yung nasa local LGU. So there's a lot of things that needs to be done. Pero yun na
Oo.
nga, the whole idea is to integrate it into the fabric of our society.
Right.
Sana ganun, di
Oo,
ba?
tama. Oo.
But for now, advocates, they pull the weight and they spread awareness. So for now, maganda tuloy-tuloy yung mga advocacies.
Okay. Ika, we are very, very curious later on your personal story. Kasi alam ko colorful yan. So, what really pivoted you to be a mental health advocate? But before that,
Absolutely.
I'd like to welcome to our webinar also another beautiful working mama just like you. She's also a mother of 5 kids. And of course, she's a super busy businesswoman. She is the general manager of Basic Transport Corporation, a board director of Clean Fuel Incorporated, and US to Everywhere Inc. Guys, oh, and of course, she's a very, very good cook in the kitchen. Welcome back, Mommy Sheila Suntay. Mommy Sheila.
Hi, Rix. Thank you for
Hi,
having
Mommy Sheila. How are you?
me. So good to see you. It's been so long.
Yeah, it's been so long in
Kamusta?
real life. Ayan. Pero yan, lagi kami sa social media ni Ma'am Sheila.
Yes,
Like
so good.
yesterday, we had a technical rehearsal, di ba? Kasi
Yes.
yung, uh, ako kasi MS-DOS pa yung naabutan ko. Iba pala pag webinar talaga. Iba na yung mga technologies ngayon, di ba? But well, we all have to adapt. Mami Sheila, thank you for joining us this afternoon. And of
It's a
course,
pleasure.
not everyone knows about your story, but before we get into that, I would just like to integrate it also with what si Ika was talking about a while ago na medyo kulang pa. I know that you have been giving a lot of talks going around the Philippines before this whole pandemic. Would you really say that there's been a change already with mental health and how we perceive it, how we see it, how Filipinos perceive it?
Can you repeat, Ricky? Sorry, you were talking.
Oh, sorry. So, with you going around giving your mental health talks, especially to kids, is there a difference na ba from what we siguro our generation before, 'di ba? How we perceived it, how we saw mental health, and now with the kids, and also ano ba, sa tingin mo ba, dumami na rin talaga yung mga cases of mental health issues, like kids are victims of mental
Yes,
health?
yes, Ricky, I will say that dumami, sometimes I don't know din dumami ba talaga, or maybe we had it before, we were just not aware of it because of the stigma. But I'm glad more people are coming out today, as what Ika said earlier, there are more advocates. But I noticed because I put up a Facebook account, no, it's called YOLO by Renzo Suntay. I noticed now there are a lot of children that come to me, they write to me. Gosh, they are so young. Some are 10 years old, some are 12 years old, and they come from different sectors. You have the rich, the middle class. There are some na hindi even masyadong may kaya. So generally, they all call me mommy. They all call me nanay, whatever, no? But I notice it's really the younger age now na ang dami ng sakit. And basically, I won't even say it's bipolar or this or that. Karamihan is really depression. They really use the word depression. During our time, Ricky, I don't know if you noticed, diba, we will watch a movie, tapos hindi maganda yung ending. I am so depressed. Or you're cooking, maganda yung cooking mo.
Yes, yes.
It was taken lightly eh.
Yes, yes, it's correct.
The word depression is so heavy already. Pag sinabi nilang depression, you feel they're really suffering inside. So I think compared to before, I think yes, dumami na. And I also noticed that compared to before, it is also much talked about now. It is also much accepted. But I will not say that it is 100% accepted because, as I've said, no, children write me. A lot of them still do not want to come out in the open. Parents write me. Either they are the ones going through something or they have children going through something and they don't want to come out in the open. They don't want to ask for help. They do not want to talk to family members kasi to them it's nakakahiya. Because as you said earlier, no, before kasi pag sinabi mong I have a mental illness, sisa or kinukulong. But no, I always say this in talks. Let us normalize the conversation. Having a toothache, having cancer, having a heart ailment is just like having a mental sickness. It is not a big deal. So children, parents who are watching, if you are feeling something, let's talk about it. Let's talk about mental health and let's start normalizing the conversation.
Okay, Mommy Shields. And of course, you founded YOLO.
Yes, I did.
What brought upon this advocacy of yours?
Okay.
YOLO is, as we know, you only live once, diba? That's the common jargon
Yes,
of
yes.
kids. Oo.
Let me start by saying that to all our viewers, no, hindi po ako doctor like Dr. JM. I am not a psychiatrist. I am not a psychologist. I am not one who has been diagnosed with a sickness, nor am I even a caregiver. I am none of the above. But you can count on the fact that I am one of, if not your strongest mental health advocate. Ilalaban ko ng patayan ang mental health for stigma to be cut off. Why? Let me share that not so long ago, I used to think I was a princess. Sabi buhay princess talaga ako. Kala ko I had everything in life. Kasi when I was still dating my husband, I was only 21, 22 years old when I started dating him. My husband was my first boyfriend. When we were dating, he was already about to take the bar exam. He was gonna go into law school. He was studying, I was jumping on the sofa and I said, "Hon, you're so intelligent, honor student all the way. I'm sure you're gonna pass the bar exam. So pag pinasa mo, are you gonna marry me? Kasi when we get married, it's right away. Ang dami ko na dream. I want to have 5 kids and I want to get married. Rikki, I did not dream of becoming a doctor, a CPA, a lawyer. Wala, hindi ako nag-ambisyon. I just wanted to be a wife and mom. And I wanted to be a mother to 5 kids. End of story. I remember my husband looked at me and said, "And how do you even plan to feed them?" And I said, "That's not my problem. Basta I want 5 kids, bahala ka na. And if you don't palitan, maghahanap ako ng iba, di ba?" Kasi kilala yung asawa ko eh. So anyway, can I just share kompleto ako sa props?
Wow!
Years after, look at this. This is my dream.
Wow.
My dream came true. I have 5 kids and even
5
more.
beautiful kids.
I have a son-in-law. He's a dream son-in-law. My daughter is married na. And so now I don't just have 5 kids, I even have 6 kids. So
Si Congressman Bong ba is your panganay?
bunso. So ito na, so I sabi ko, wow, dream come true. Everything is here. And I remember my husband said, "And how do you plan to feed them?" God gave me 5 kids. He provided also businesses on how to feed them. My life was literally a fairy tale. It was so perfect. Until what? Sorry, Vix. I told you naman when I relived the story. So 2 years ago, seemingly life perfect. I picked up a call on a regular Saturday. I was doing errands. I picked up a call from my helper and she was screaming, she was yelling. Hindi mo na maintindihan. She kept talking and talking and she kept saying, "Mom, si Renzo. Mom, si Renzo, uwi na kayo." And I said, "What happened to Renzo?" "Mom, basta uwi na kayo, si Renzo. You know the problem when your helper does not want to tell you what happened. You lost a son. So, all I could ask was, "Yaya, humihinga pa ba? Just tell me, humihinga pa ba?" And then she said, "Hindi na." So, what does a mother do, right? Fast forward, I seek professional help, not just for myself, for my children, for my husband, because I wanted to find out what happened. I lost my son to suicide. This is him. This is my son. He was 20 years old when I lost him. So the shotgun was beside him when I found him in the bathroom. You know, to a lot of people who were asking, kasi naman, that's the problem with suicide. You know, the parents easily get judged, automatic kasalanan namin. And of course, that's what we felt. We really felt it was our fault. So you have people asking, ang tanga-tanga, bakit kasi, why does he even have access to gun? Why do you give him a gun? For those people who are asking and who have judged us, I just want to share that my son was a Philippine team shooter. That was his dream. When he came to me and said he wanted to shoot, I said no. But he went to his dad and said that was really his dream. So pinayagan namin. You know, my son would compete in Italy, in Germany, in Hong Kong, in Korea. Kung saan na yan umabot, he was really good in shooting. He was part of the Philippine team. That's why he had an access to the gun. But the gun was never allowed to be brought home. And all his life, for 5 or 6 years that he was shooting, he never brought it home. Except for that day, because that was when we checked the CCTV camera. Apparently, inuwi na niya that gun. So fast forward, we were dealing with doctors. Apparently, my son was already sick. For 2 years, he was suffering from depression, a sickness I knew nothing about. And that is why I am a mental health advocate today, because I am encouraging parents, please educate yourselves. You know, when I ask people to join us, come to my talk, listen to what I have to share, a lot of parents would say, "Nako, Sheila, walang sakit yung anak ko. Hindi ako target market nyo." But I always say, you know, I did not think I was also a target market. As you saw the photo of my family that was just taken 2 weeks before he passed on. We were in Hokkaido. It was such a happy, memorable trip. I had no idea he was suffering kasi we were all so happy. I just found out na lang later on from his friends after he passed on that he would text them and say, "Pare, gusto ko nang umuwi, depressed na ako." Where the depression came from, I don't know. Until I see him one day, I will never know because doon ko lang matatanong sa kanya where it came from. But I am making a plea to all the parents out there to please be more mindful of your children's behavior, be more vigilant in how they are behaving. Let's be more cautious. If we think baka nag-iinerte lang, baka tinatamad lang, nagdadrama lang, let's not judge them too easily. Let's sit down and talk to them because we really don't know what they are going through. So, Rikki, to answer your question earlier, that is the reason why I am a mental health advocate.
Mommy Shields, I was one of them who was so surprised and shocked when I found out. I remember messaging you because I was in the States back then. I felt so terrible that I couldn't have been there with you and for you because as a parent, that's the parent's worst nightmare. And to think the parent, you know why I was so shocked? Because I saw that Renzo was such a happy child. You
Yeah,
know,
he
he was
was.
so busy with everything. Alam mo yun, ang dami niyang activities. He had friends. He had you. You know, I see
Yes,
your photos on social media and, you know, and the way your family is, me knowing you guys.
yes,
Walang
yes,
problema eh. There weren't any signs at all eh.
yes, yes.
So,
I was not aware.
are you also, wala rin siyang pinakitang signs at all that time? I
You
think this
know,
is like a question also that like parents like me really want to know, ano ba, meron ba kami kailangan i-watch out na signs?
okay, Ricky, I'll be honest, okay? That's why sometimes talagang hindi mo there are times I really blame myself or my husband blames himself. My son was not really very good in school. Not because he was dumb. Of course, he is so intelligent. And as a matter of fact, street smart siya eh. But you know, school is not for everybody. I never excelled in school. But I'm pretty much doing well. I have a good business that I'm running with my husband. He wasn't doing well in academic to the extent that he got kicked out in LaSalle. But I see him, he excels so much in sports. Any sport na pasukan niya. Give him a badminton racket for the first time, he'll beat you with a smash. And hindi marunong mag-badminton pa yan, sabi na yan. Make him do volleyball, any sport. I think he really excelled in sports. He was a Taekwondo Philippine team also, black belter. So I think it kicked into him that his younger sister, who was a constant dean's lister, was always good in school, His older sister was a cum laude, double major in Ateneo. Siya yung nagitna eh. Maybe inside he kind of compared himself. I don't know ha. I'm just making all these assumptions with the
Yes,
doctor.
yes.
So it's possible that it hit him. Tapos feeling niya siguro disappointed kami. Because it's true naman, when he got kicked out, of course, napagalitan. Which, alam mo, sabihin
Yes.
ko, okay lang, sige, makick out ka lang, di ba?
Oo,
Lalakawin.
oo.
Just say that. Of course, na-sermonan din siya. And then, but after that, it was okay. We were guiding him. In fact, I was looking for a school for him in the States. Sabi ko, baka you're better off in the States. And he said, Mom, I don't want to leave. And when he said he didn't want to leave, so okay, balik tayo dito. So we moved him from main LaSalle to CSB, a school he really didn't like. He really wanted to be at the main. So he said, Mom, I'm going to be here for one sem only. Then babalik ako sa main. So I said, okay, and Renzo, if you need any help, tutor, etc., I'm willing to help you. He said, kaya daw niya kasi madali na CSB. I think it started kicking in really deep when he lost his school. And he also had a girlfriend na nag-break up. Medyo kasabay-sabay lang.
Accumulation, no? Of all the pains.
Yeah. And then there
Oo.
was a time, because of that, he wasn't doing so well na din in shooting. Siguro it was affecting him na din. So nagkasabay-sabay. At Renzo was a perfectionist in shooting eh. So I think it kind of hit him there. When he got kicked out, he cried. He really cried. Naghagulgol siya sa akin and he said, Mom, I want to quit school already. Renzo was graduating and just like any mother, any parent, gusto mo lang naman makatapos yung son mo or yung anak mo, right?
Yes, of course. Oo.
So si Bong spoke to him and said, son, you only have 1 more year to go. Tapusin mo na. Then after that, do whatever you want.
Hmm.
I think at that time that he cried, he was at a different level of depression already. Which, as I've said, I knew nothing about mental
Yes.
health.
Oo.
In my hands, I'm not nagmamalinis. I'm just saying, I undermined his crying. I undermined his expression. He must have been deeply suffering inside already na hindi na niya.
Mm-mm.
And putting him back in school maybe aggravated the pain. Okay?
Oo.
Problem is now, he swore to himself he was going to go back to main LaSalle. Problema, he failed the same subject that got him kicked out, which was math. Hindi siya ngayon makabalik sa main. So remember, sunod-sunod ngayon yan. In a span,
Oo. Patong-patong na.
patong-patong na eh. So, he was also leaving for Korea for a competition. I think because of depression, according to doctors, kasi when you are really suffering deep in depression, hindi ka na makafocus. The week before, nalaman na lang namin when he passed on, hindi pala siya naka-apply ng visa to Korea. And he was already bayad na lahat. I think siya na, wala pala akong visa. But sabi ko nga, had I known he was sick, I would have understood him more. I really would have. Hindi ko alam eh. So I think at the time that he did it, nagpatong-patong na, natakot na siya, report card niya, bumagsak siya, malalaman na naman namin. And then, malalaman namin, hindi siya naka-apply ng visa, binayaran na namin lahat. Of course, we would be upset, Rikki. And who wouldn't,
Of course.
It's only because we are raising our children to be more responsible. But after naman na sermonan your kid and after teaching them the lesson, you're back to normal. It's not like nawawala yung love. It's always there. You just want your children to be more responsible. I think he got so napato-pato, hindi na niya kinaya. So that was one incident that, looking back, na maybe I should have been more considerate with his cry. Because I would have given my son my life, Rikki, my family. I would have given my son my life. I would have given up everything I have. I would have given up my work. I would have set my other children aside because my other child needs me the most and they would have understood. I would have done all of that for him because he is such a beautiful human being. Such a lovely child. So, yeah, I believe there were signs, but it was a bit brushed off because I knew nothing about mental health at the time. So, there you go.
Yeah. Okay. Mommy Sheila, if I'm there, I just want to give you a virtual hug right now. I really want to give you a virtual hug. It's such a courageous, it's so bold of you and courageous to actually be able to share this with us, because sharing your story is actually helping a lot of parents out there understand their children better, Sabi ko nga, when we started this webinar, it doesn't matter if we reach 1, 10, or 100 or 1,000 viewers. Every life counts for us. Every struggling child, every struggling parent, I think will benefit from this. So thank you very much for sharing your story, Mommy Sheila. Nakikita ko to sa mga yakap, yan, yun ang inaano lang ngayon, ODL ngayon, yakap na mahigpit. And sorry, yung false eyelashes matatanggal.
Just to share with all the viewers, I wanted to know, I didn't come here. When Rikki asked me to do this, I've been doing this for quite some time, but during the pandemic, I was going through something myself because it was my son's birthday, then naging anniversary niya. So kahit ako suffering with something inside, I was really battling. Plus, there's all this corona happening. I wasn't certain, so ang tagal ko sumagot sa'yo, remember? Then I asked myself, am I ready to relive the past again? And then iiyak na naman. And then parang I'm thinking, I'm going through it all over again. But I want all of you viewers to know, I am not here to speak to a crowd. I am here to speak to just the one person that needs to hear my story to keep fighting. So please, if you are going through something, going through a battle inside you, just keep fighting, keep going. Tomorrow will be a better day. Okay?
Mommy Sheila, thank you. Alam ba, I still have so many questions, but siguro, let's bring in our mga kabarkada. Because I'm sure they also have questions for you. Jerika and Doc JM. They've just been on standby over there. Hi, guys.
Hi. Hi, Sheila.
Hi, Doc.
Hi.
Hug. Ganun pala ang virtual hug na yan. I learned something new today.
Can I hug you? Hugs, Ika.
Doc. Okay, Dr. JM, how can parents like Mommy Sheila, if you were there for them to counsel them, what advice would you have given her at the time that it's happening or after it happened?
Medyo mahirap no? Because like what Sheila said, wala kasi siyang nakita walang signs at all it was like parang boom, bigla na lang siya lahat, no? So the shock, of course, we have those phases of depression, di ba? Una-una, anger, tapos meron ka denial, no? I'm sure, na nila yan, no? Yung galit ka, at hindi mo alam kung paano ka magagalit, and sometimes, galit ka, it turns mo sa auto o sa sarili mo yung galit mo, you tend to blame yourself and all. So eventually, I guess the best advice I could give is just cry, no?
Yeah.
Iyak lang, no? Ibigay mo lang lahat, no? Wala kasi tayong exact time frame kung ano yung healing natin kasi each person has its own time frame, no? I cannot directly say, kailangan matapusin in 3 months dapat okay ka na or whatever, or 6 months dapat okay. Walang ganyan no? It depends kasi yan kung gaano mo ka-love yung tao, gaano close yung tao. So wala ganyan tayong frame. So if you feel like you're crying, then iyak ka. If you feel like you're also, to shout, you shout. Kasi kailangan mo rin yan, no? Like if you need someone to talk, kailangan mo siyang kausapin. Pero, as long as you yourself know na you need to stand up, kailangan mong maging matatag din because, there are other people also relying on you because you yourself is a parent. No? So, there are other kids also na to look up to you and then, syempre, kailangan din nila ng strength din. So, kailangan mo rin talaga magpakatatag talaga. And, for Sheila's story is she's a woman of strength talaga, no? For sharing that story, to be that strong person na kayanan niya yan, no? Because lahat ng mga pasyente ko, parents na afraid to suicide, ganun din nangyayari din So, para sa akin, kung if you seek help, if you need na medication, bibigyan ka, just lang para lang makontrol yung emotions mo, yung depression mo rin, yun ang pinakamagandang gawin natin.
Jay, I wanted to share with you also, no, and Rikki, I think is very important for the viewers. 3 days, I lost my son on a Friday. Tuesday, I was in the office, he texted, Mom, I'm not joining you for dinner tonight, I'm going to away. Sabi ko, oh my God. Sabi niya, Mom, he gave a name. I don't want to mention it, but he gave a name. Sabi niya, my friend died. Sabi ko, oh my God, what happened to him? Kasi kinala ko yung bata. Sabi niya, Mom, he died by suicide. You know, suicide, I felt was medyo rampant na siya the year before it happened to my son.
Yes.
I felt it was getting too close to my family. Sabi ko, okay, you know what? You need to come home early. Mag-usap muna tayo before you go to the wake. So he came home. You know, I have 5 kids. The other one is married, so 4 na lang sa bahay. But the 2 are very young pa. So ang kinausap ko yung 2 matanda. Renzo was 20 and my other daughter, she was 18 at the time. We were in the kitchen, I was cooking. Alam mo, nakaganon siya sa kitchen counter, nakapatong pa kami. Sabi ko, very casual. I said, kids, I hope none of you are suicide. Alam mo yung kanya. Ma, as if 3 days before he did that, Doc JM, do you agree at the time? I'm sure may sakit na siya. Obviously, he was battling with suicide na. Very bukana. Ano, joker, a poker face talaga. Ma, as if. Then I said, kids, I know, sometimes there are problems, you don't want to talk to us about it. I just want you to know we are here to help 24/7. We will solve that. And after we solve the problem, you can count on the fact na pag-isip nyo, may bago kayong problema ulit because that is life and it is okay. We are here. Paulit-ulit and he kept saying, ano ba, tagal naman na sermon, alis na ako. As if naman, no, of course, it doesn't matter, ganyan. Tinakot ko pa, sabi ko pa, basta kayo, pag nag-suicide kayo, ay naku, pupunta kayong hell, ha? Ikaw, I even said, hell, ikaw pa naman, you're always matakaw in eating. If you go to hell, gugutumin ka talaga ni Satanas, di ka na hindi nga sa joke. Tapos siya, kulit, alis na ako. 3 days after, I lost him. So, talaga, Doc, tama yung sinabi mo, you shocked to my face. Because I spoke to him, that was the perfect time na for him to say, Mom, actually, I'm battling with something. And my kids are not say, we get drunk together, just go, I'm such a cool mom. We go to bar, Opus Days, Rikki, magda-dancing pa kami. Diba? Vina! Tama pa si Vina. So I would do that with my kids. So I always felt that they could talk to me about anything. So yes, it was a big blow to my face when I put it in the bathroom. Na wala na, akala ko matatakbo ko pa sa hospital, pero wala eh. Wala eh. Lifeless na eh. It was too late. So how you can determine, I don't know, maybe there are signs, but in my case, there was no sign.
There's none at all. I mean, I know Mommy Sheila's story. Parang doon, ayun na nga, parang, what a destructive disease mental illness is. Kasi, parang you see somebody so happy and even straight up, Mommy Sheila said na, wag mong gagawin yun ha. Tapos sinabi niya, ba? Parang ba't ko gagawin ba, Mommy Sheila? And then, a week after, so, Doc, what do parents do? What's the best thing we do now?
No, I guess you just have to talk to your kids. Talaga, talking kasi would really help. Constant talking, no? Wala. You put in open communication talaga sa bahay talaga, no? Because wala kasi tayong telltale sign talaga na, this was my depression to, my anxiety. Walang ganun eh. Walang example talaga or di kahon na signs eh, no? So, kailangan you have to really talk to your kids, assure them that you love them, assure them that you are, you're willing to listen, you're willing to understand. Yung mga ganun lang kasi talaga, no? And then, make them feel that they are safe sa bahay. Make them feel they are safe. Kasi, most of the suicide kasi are done at home talaga. So kailangan, make them feel na, okay, safe ka dito, hindi mo dapat pwede gawin ito or ganito, because para alam nila na you are there for them talaga the whole time.
Can I add? I'll add to what he was saying, no? I think Renzo did not open up because it was a one-time, big-time conversation. Kaya tama yung sinabi ni Doc JM, constant eh. Hindi pwedeng isang tanong tapos you expect him to open up. No, it doesn't work that way. If I was more sensitive, I don't know. Kasi naman when we talk, palaging medyo shallow din yung conversation. Another thing I'd like to add, how do you get to know that he's suffering from depression? I've learned today that a few of his friends, yung talagang close sa kanya, were very much aware of his situation. If you're feeling something, who do you go to? You don't go to your parents, you go to your friends. So, alam pala ng mga friends. Kaya yung mga friends niya medyo nag-suffer din from depression because they were being themselves. But hindi naman naman their fault. I think it's very important now for moms who are listening, please ibarkada ninyo yung mga kaibigan ng mga anak nyo. Keep an open relationship with the friends of your children because now I invite the friend, ngayon po ito, but before that, I would invite the friends of my kids. Inuupuan ko na and I drink with them, I talk to them, they have my cell phone number. So anytime that there's something wrong with my daughter or my son, nasasabi na nila sa akin. There's a direct communication line.
That's a
So I
very
think
good tip, Ma'am Sheila.
ibarkada nyo yung mga barkada na it really helps. It helps a lot.
So ikaw na yung cool mom kasi umiinom ka kasama with your kids.
It's so nice that Mami Sheila that I know that you're going through something so painful until now. Hindi naman mawawala, and like I said na, it's what happened to Mami Sheila is the worst thing that can happen to any parent. No parent would ever want that, even to another parent who they may not like, diba? Kasi it's really the most painful thing. Oh, now thank you really. That now that your courage and your warmth has really touched. I'm sure it's touching a lot of people now. I actually dad ko nakuha tip sa iyo befriending yung mga barkada ng anak ko, yung BFF ko. Yan. Kasi kaya friends ko yung BFFs niya. But now si Jerika naman. Jerika, unlike si Ma'am Sheila who, like she said, she never went through depression. Jerika went through a very, devastating couple of years also for her. Kaya siya naging mental health advocate. Can you tell us more about that? How you think it affects your parenting style now? Oh,
Breaking
sorry.
up.
So, can you tell us how? It's okay.
Sorry,
It's
you
okay.
were breaking
So,
up,
can you
Rikki.
tell us also, diba, that you went through something very mentally emotional, mentally challenging for you before? You were depressed. I mean, what really happened, and how can you say that it affected you now as a parent? Because you were the child before who was battling with depression. Now that you're the parent, has it changed you? Has it changed your parenting style? Did you evolve because of that?
Absolutely 100%. um we were talking yesterday about bullying and all these things, and it's no secret what happened to our family. It's no secret back in 2001 or 2002 what happened to my father, what happened to us. And this really put me in a very difficult situation. I was bullied in school to the point where I had to stop going to school. I had to leave the country because, of the political climate, and it was very difficult. And when I left, I was 17 when I left. And I was very sheltered. So you take a very sheltered teenager, you put her in a country where she's never lived, no family, no friends, no nothing. So I had to really cope and self-medicate, with what I was going through, suffering through depression, bullying, post-traumatic stress disorder. So I
Uh,
had to deal with
Sorry, it's like in case some people don't know lang, are not aware, Jerika is the daughter of our former president Joseph Ejercito Estrada. So yung sinasabi niya 2000, what happened in 2002? It was
Edados. When
So
my father, former President Joseph Ejercito Estrada, was impeached. I was in high school. I was 15, 16 years old. Like I said, I was bullied, like severely bullied. Okay, not just by classmates, but by teachers, by priests, by adults.
wow.
Yes, Mami Sheila. Of course, because everyone was against our family. We were the bad guys. We were the villain of the Philippines at that time. And ano na kami, damay-damay na with that, di ba? So with what's happening to my father, the uncertainty of what was happening to him, the uncertainty of my mom, was also going through her own thing. My brothers, me, we were just trying to cope in our own way. And for my parents, they figured it's safer for me if they send me away. So
Mm.
okay, yun.
That
In
was
their
their way of
perspective,
making you cope.
yes,
Di ba? Oo.
to take tama naman, you take me out of that crazy situation, di ba? You send me away. But by sending me away at such a young age, which I was so vulnerable, just coming out of being bullied with nowhere to turn to and very shaky foundation, it was such a whirlwind. And I didn't know what was going on with my life, with my mental state. And little did I know that I was already suffering all these, severe depression and anxiety. Only later on, when I came home and I was a borderline suicidal already. I attempted twice to take my life, and by God's grace, I'm still here to tell my story. You know, and when I came home, I realized that it was so hard to get help, to find help. And that's where this whole mental health advocacy began. It was a quest for me. It was my mission in life na wala nang makakaramdam ng naramdaman ko na no one will feel alone, no one will feel misunderstood. So that's how it all happened.
Okay. Ika, so how did it, as you went through it on your own as a child. So are there lessons that you took from that? Is there a takeaway from what you experienced
Well,
as a child who was bullied?
nothing
How do you deal
special.
with
It's
your kids now?
nothing.
Okay. So we're experiencing some technical difficulties. Ito yung pinractice namin kahapon. Okay. Sorry, Ika. Okay, you're back. You're back.
There's no special formula. At the end of the day, it's the same as Dr. JM has been saying. It's just open communication. Really. Open communication, patience, and compassion, empathy to your children. Really be present. Just because everything seems okay doesn't always mean that it's okay. Like you've been my friend for almost 2 decades, Ricky. And parang to you, ikaw, depressed ka?
Yeah.
Diba? Like, no one knew. But like I said, I was suicidal twice. You know what I mean? But buti na lang, I live to tell my story, and I'm hoping that
Praise
that
God.
I will be able to exactly I will be able to help those who are also in my was when I was in my situation. So yeah, so really open communication with my children. I try to be, although they're still young, but Isaiah is already turning 7. So
Mm-mm.
I'm really very. I observe his behavior. I observe how he thinks, how he solves problems, how he acts in stressful situations when he doesn't get what he wants. Ganon. I think when you're a parent, yun na lang dapat, you have to be very in touch with your children. Kasi if you just miss something, you'll never know. So, ganun lang. You just try your best. But again, mental illness is a sickness. It's nobody's fault. You
Yes.
cannot blame someone who has cancer and died of cancer. Kasi ganito siya eh. 'Di ba? You cannot blame anyone. You cannot blame, the family members of a cancer patient. Same with mental illness. You cannot blame the
Yeah.
family member. It's a
Oo.
sickness. A sickness
Yeah.
that can be cured, that can be talked about. So that's kailangan yun talaga yung maintindihan ng mga tao.
Okay.
Yes.
Siguro like now, just to recap it siguro, 'di ba? Talagang it's very complex. Maraming factors a mental illness. It can happen like what Dr. M said, household per household. There's no standard, there's no peg na, teka lang, yung anak ko masayahin. Okay, kumain, mag-ayos, matulog. Okay siya. I should just let her be or let him be. So there's none. So it's really a case-to-case basis. So I think now the biggest challenge for parents is to really talk to their children as much, assure them that they love them as often as they can, that whatever wrong they do, we will always be there for them, diba? At that we will love them no matter what happens. Tama ba, Doc JM? And
Yes.
if for example, hindi naman lahat pa ay ganito kalawak ang pag-iisip ngayon, and that's why siguro some kids, di ba, they cannot really open up to their parents. Are there hotlines? Are there forums that they can actually, where they can actually express themselves? Meron ba kayong reliable or credible hotlines that, kids and even parents who are suffering also can actually contact for them to talk to?
Actually, sa
Anyone
school,
has?
you could actually go to the guidance counselor. Ito yung pinakamalapit na pupuntahan mo sa school, no? Kung wala kang kakilala, go to the guidance counselor sa school, tapos doon yung i-report ko may mga history of bullying or parang misconduct or anything. So, guidance counselor pag sa bata talaga. Wala kayong kakilala psychiatrist or psychologist, no? That's actually ay pinaka-easiest na pupuntahan natin. Sa adult naman, pwede kang pumunta sa any hospital kasi lahat naman ng hospitals, meron namang available psychologist or psychiatrist doon.
Although
Okay.
Rikki, Tita Jean
Yes, ma'am.
Goldborn, I don't know if you've heard about Jean Goldborn. She lost her daughter to suicide also.
Yes.
And she came out with this hotline which we working with DOH. I told Direct to post the screen. Direct, are you there? Baka we can post the hotline numbers.
Direct? Okay.
Wala si
Maybe we can post the hotline numbers.
Yeah.
Yes, yeah. Okay.
Give me a minute.
Okay, so for a minute now. Actually, I've been, since in preparation nga for our webinar now, like I said, I am from the old school. That's why it's very interesting for me. But it's also very interesting for me because I have kids of my own. I'm so blessed with two beautiful girls who, one is helping me with tech production, one is supporting me watching as a viewer right now. Although they don't like the 2 to 3 hours na screen time lang for their YouTube and games. But also sabi ko, this is something very close to my heart, and I'm sure it's very close also to the hearts of a lot of parents. Because sabi nga, tama si Ma'am Sheila, kung alam lang ng mga anak natin that we can actually give up our own lives for them. Diba? I think every parent will do that for our kids. At the end of the day, our kids are our utmost priority. Ayan, teka lang. Okay, meron daw siyang may mga phone-in questions tayo. But what is this? I don't understand the handwriting. Okay. They're asking for advices daw. Okay. Okay, for again, meron kami may mga ganyan. I'm so sorry, anak. I love you very much. Okay. Before I flash, okay. I'm so proud of you. Okay. Direct. Okay. There you go. Ang guwapo ni Rancho, my goodness.
Diba?
So please take note that this is available 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. And oh my goodness, did you know that someone dies by suicide every 40 seconds? One life, one call, one line. The hotlines are there for Globe 917-558-4673. And this is a landline, 8804-4673. What's 2919, Mami Sheila? This is the local. The local
It's a
is
local,
2919. There you go. So this is a very good help, especially those na hindi naman kaya lahat face-to-face na counseling. Actually, I also know that a lot of people would not be able to post their comments online. But with all the questions that were sent by our private messenger, thank you because almost all ay nasagot na natin. These are mostly asking for advices. Okay. Asking for advice. Okay. Isang question then. It's like, how do they deal this is coming from a viewer who's also, I think, 19 years old, asking for advice on how to deal with his depression. Pero ito na nga, di ba, marami siyang components na hindi natin alam eh. It's a case-to-case basis. But siguro, first off, generally,
Ah,
If I am a teenager now, if I'm a kid now, and I feel like, hey, I'm depressed kasi tama naman si Mami Sheila nung time namin. Alam mo yun, hindi na masabi pagka, oh my God, the food is so gross. I'm so depressed. It's like a term lang that you use so lightly. But now I think that the kids are realizing already that, depression is something else. And we have a well, 19 to 20-year-old child now who's asking for advice. He feels depressed. Although baka hindi niya alam why. Jeremy, what's the first step? What's the first step that we should advise him? Doc?
okay. I guess kung you ask the child, the kid, no, kung ano yung reason, no? Of course, kailangan mo siya tumingin kung ano yung feelings niya. Importante how it started. And ano yung reason why she or he felt depressed, no? Because sa younger generation, no, ang most common kasi cause of depression will be, of course, sa school, no? Yung bullying, very, very common. Sobrang taas ng rate ng bullying sa school kasi, no? Pangalawa is, I don't know, there are increasing number of depression because of love.
Because of love.
No? Yes, at a very young
Bye.
age. May mga crushes sila, may mga gusto sila, and then ang bilis, pag nagkaroon sila ng rejection, pakiramdam nila depressed na sila agad. So kailangan din ino-note din yan, no? Pangatlo would be family problem. Malaking factor yung family problem. Because, syempre, if the parents are, for example, magpa-file ng divorce or may death sa family or whatever, chances are kasi ang parents kasi hindi nila napapabayaan kasi mga bata no, because nakafocus sila on their own issues also. Yes, yung problem nila kasi pag sa verse of divorce or annulment or whatever, so napapabayaan yung bata, hindi natatanong kung ano yung naramdaman nila, ano yung opinion nila about the matter, ano yung how they feel about the entire situation. So doon, since hindi napapabayaan yung bata, nagkakaroon na increase of rates of depression. So kailangan talaga communication, tanongin ng maayos, how it started, ano yung reason, and kung kailangan talaga magtanong sila for professional help, then go to the nearest healthcare worker, mental health care worker.
Okay. Siguro, okay. I also remember, di ba, yung sabi ni Doc JM, ang adult na attention span, usually 45 minutes. So, on that note, I would like to thank our mental health advocates, our very beautiful, inside and out working mama.
Sorry, si Direk kasi nag-message PM important daw.
Okay.
It was a question from one of the viewers. My parents don't take my mental health seriously. What if my parents are the source of my mental well-being deteriorating? Okay, JM, I have a question talaga on this because majority of the children writing, matatawa ka, nasumulat na hindi ko na lang gagawin ko, hindi ko alam kung sino lalapitan ko, ganyan na kasi depressed daw siya. Sabi ko, talk to your mom, turuan ko. Kapag bumalik sa Facebook, guys, sinunod ko yung advice nyo, ano ba sabi ng nanay ko? Matagal ko na daw sinasabi sa kanya, gusto ko mag-suicide, hindi ko naman daw ginagawa, ba't hindi ko na lang
Wow! Oh my goodness!
Parents, if you are watching, please do not push your children to the edge. You are pushing them, and before you know it, iiyak talaga kayo. You know how I cried for 2 years, and I will be crying this way until my last breath. Please take them seriously. Jem, paano ba yun? Pag ganyan ang parents mo, nakakaloka naman.
Ikaw muna, Jerika.
Yes, because when I was going through my own journey, bless my parents, I love them. My mom now is my best friend, but just like Mommy Sheila at the time, she was also very, what are you talking about? I don't understand, very, because she didn't understand. So for me, what really helped me when I couldn't really reach out to the people that I had in my life at the time was my faith. When my mental health journey started, my spiritual journey also started. So for me, one of the biggest source of strength that I had, regardless of me having people around me, was renewing my faith and working on my spirituality. To be honest, like me being a mental health advocate, I was very facts, Freud, Sigmund Freud, ganyan, si Carl Jung, everything. But when I read the Bible and I read this verse, Romans chapter 12, verse 2, be transformed by the renewing of your mind, I was like, what?
Wow. Oo. Exactly what you
Actually
said.
know what I'm going through. This Bible, baka may sense din pala tong Bible na to. So, it really opened like this hunger to understand. If you read the Bible, you would realize that God was talking about the mind 60 times in the New Testament. He said, take your thoughts into captivity. I keep in perfect peace those who focus their mind on me. All these things, it's all there. And I kid you not, until now, I still have my doubts of anxiety, but because I have these scriptures to hold on to, it helps a lot. If not, it helps me, period. So, for my advice to those young women or young children that cannot talk to their parents about it, God is there. God is real. God is alive. So, and in Jesus, you will always have hope and life.
Oh,
Amen.
so beautiful,
Yeah.
Jerika. Beautiful,
Oh,
beautiful
amen.
advice.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
Thank you, Jerika.
Very
That's
Very
it.
beautiful. Sabi niyo naman talaga, diba, you know what? Okay, there's this I want to share also. When I was growing up, I don't know who told me about it, but sabi nila, if you have a question, if you're in doubt, if you have issues, get the Bible. It
Yes.
works like magic, ha? I don't know if it's magic talaga, ha? Open the Bible and have your question there. Pagbukas mo, point to something. Nandun lagi yung sagot. Okay, that's another topic altogether. But yeah,
Pero totoo yan. Thank you. That's true. God
praise God.
speaks to us.
Yes. So, ito pa pala, we have another question from a parent. How do you think parents should react and must handle their kids having anxiety attacks? Anxiety attacks naman. Please give them to-dos and not to-do because it's hard to be misunderstood when there's no open communication or when have the has open communication there. So, ano ba yung to-do list ng parents? Anxiety attacks, usually I see this also in kids now, like students. Ako, I'm an active parent also in our parents association. Yung mga estudyante ngayon, lalo na with how competitive they are with academics, tipo, oh my gosh, akala mo maarte lang, ano, oh my gosh, I didn't finish my homework, oh my gosh, I got like a B minus in my subject, oh my gosh, I'm gonna die, mga ganon. Dito ko ibang parents naman, I'm not saying it's all, ha, pero, ang arte-arte naman ng anak ko, drama queen, mga ganon. Are there do's and do not for us parents? Kasi that's, Doc, di ba? Correct me if I'm wrong, that's an anxiety attack din, di ba? So how
Yes.
how should we deal with it? Ano yung mga di namin pwedeng sabihin? Meron bang gano'n? May checklist ba?
Well, kung depende kasi, kagaya ganyan, mga oh my God, parang feeling ko kasi arte lang yan no? I mean, yes, no? Because when we say anxiety kasi, there's a certain susundin na dapat na criteria to label someone as having anxiety attacks, no? Kasi currently now, we have the DSM-5, no? At tinatawag natin na pag may sinabi kang may anxiety attack, it has to be something na parang medyo excessive worrying for more than 6 months duration, ay may certain symptoms ka nararamdaman, no? Na bigla siya magkakaroon na ganito ganyan, na mararamdaman mo ito. Pag ganyan lang na parang worry lang, of course, it's not an anxiety attack. It's just parang,
Okay.
like you said, arte lang. But, to the benefit of the one who gave the question, okay, first and foremost, once you have an anxiety attack, we have to go down to the basic breathing exercises. That's the basic mo siyang gagawin talaga. No? You have to do the breathing. Dapat alam mo yung 12 to 16 cycles per minute. Meaning, inhale, That's one cycle. And you have to count that up to 12 to 16 average yan in 1 minute. And you have to do that cycle repetitively para to help you count down. The second one is medyo mahirap na konti. This is what we call the positive reinforcement. Kasi normally, pag nagkaroon ka ng anxiety attack, puro negative thoughts ang pumapasok sa'yo. Na nagkukos ng panic sa'yo, parang mamamatay ka na, susuklog na yung mundo sa'yo,
Kala mo yung yes,
nagsusuklog ka. So, puro negative thoughts. What you're going to do is, you have that power sa mind mo eh. No, it has to be mind over matter. So, pag alam mo na ganito na, you have to really think happy thoughts, no? Just like sa happy feet. Think happy thoughts para marunong ka sumayaw. Ganun lang din yan. You have to focus on keep on and producing happy thoughts para mawala itong mga anxiety attack na to. And those are the two basic steps na kailangan mo lang gawin. And nothing na yun. Kagaya tinatawag ng butterfly effect, no? Yung tinatawag na, you focus.
Totoo pala yan. Napanood ka sa K-drama. It's okay not to be okay.
Yeah. That's the butterfly effect. No? So you tap yourself, and then you focus, you concentrate, and then you breathe in, breathe out para to help you calm down. Because may hugging effect kasi siya to help you calm down eh. Malalas yung pag-ibig mo, whatever you call it. No? And of course, kung hindi na kaya yan, you seek professional help talaga.
Okay. Doc, okay, ngayon na darating yung questions natin. It's from a student. Okay. I am an atheist and I don't believe in God, but I can't tell my parents and it's hard to seek help when all they respond to me are things like, pray na lang. What do I do?
I think if you are an atheist, at least explore your spiritual side. You know what I mean? Because it does help. But I mean, it depends on how old she is. She can start seeking professional help. You know, it's not as hard as it was before. You can start with a life coach. You can start with your guidance counselor. You know, there are available helps there. And I mean, it's available depending on how old he is or he is, his environment, where he is. If he's in school, guidance counselor. Kung wala, life coach. Kung wala, psychiatrist. Yeah.
And I would like to share also na, in preparation na for this webinar of ours, I saw on Facebook there's a lot of pages already, like a support community, a community support. Diba? So maybe they can check it out. Non-sectarian naman yung mga yon, diba? At the end of the day, mental illnesses go beyond our social classes, economic classes, religion, and race or ages. It can afflict anyone at any time. So now there's a lot of forum support groups now on Facebook that you can check out actually. Okay. So do we have more phone questions? Meron pa. Okay, one more question. Direct, can you show your face? Later na lang daw. Okay. Okay. Home mental support, health support. Hi, Chai. Support will be available to Filipinos. Is there a 24/7 suicidal health hotline available for Filipinos? Yes. Ayun yung kanina na pinost natin, di ba? From Ma'am Sheila. Maybe we can, we will, after our webinar, we will post again those hotlines on our Facebook pages also. Okay. So, maybe we can, at this point, maybe we can ask also si Ma'am Sheila, Jerika, and JM, any parting messages for our viewers, especially the parents. How do you understand and deal with the invisible wounds of your kids? We have another question pala. Okay. Medyo matagal mag-warm. Okay. Hello po, this is CJ. I just want to ask, what if a person suddenly cries while working and felt so down, and it happens from time to time and for a long time already? Do you suggest if he or she should already try to consult a psychiatrist for it?
Yes. Yes. If it's matagal na, kasi ang criteria namin for depression, if you have a feeling of depressed mood, low energy, excessive eating or less eating, impairment of sleep, feeling of hopelessness, guilt, uh, maybe suicide thoughts or morbid thoughts of more than 2 weeks. So 2 weeks, 2 weeks yung time frame, no? If
Okay.
it's more than that, no, kung may ganun kang feeling, then I think it's time to seek psychiatric help talaga.
Okay. Okay. So I think we have one more. We'll give for the rest maybe kasi kinabahan ako dun sa sinabi ni Doc JM ang ating ano. Kasi ang Facebook Live naman, di ba? I think now the webinars, how they work, it's not the usual seminar na uupo ka, papasok ka sa room, uupo ka, tatapusin mo. Now we have trickles and trickles. I'd like to give you an update. We have reached more than 12,000 viewers already through the course of our webinar. But syempre,
Wow.
yung iba lalabas ngayon, iba pasok. So I think these are for our late enrollees. From a student, what can I do with abusive parents? To the point, binibenta niya ako sa kainuman niya. Having favorites, being napapagalitan for no reason, and having too many expectations. Please help me.
I think this is
It's very
issue
big.
with
That's a
the
very
local
difficult
government.
situation.
With the, but if ganun, report na
Oo.
sana to the police.
Oo.
Police
Yeah.
na yan.
I think
Police
when there's abuse
Yes.
happening, when there's human trafficking happening,
Oo.
that's beyond mental health realm. That has to be taken care by the law
Yes.
officials na.
If,
Please encourage
yeah,
them.
if you have a relative na who you could actually confide to,
Yes.
and or a friend na pwede kang humingi ng tulong, seek help sa Women's Children Protection Unit
Yes. Oo.
Yes.
para matulungan ka na maayos doon. Yes.
Oo. Sa mga
No?
barangay din, di ba? Kahit sa barangay, meron tayong women's desk. So,
Yes,
Yeah.
yung that's
Oo.
where she's supposed to.
Maraming
Violence against
ganyan.
women.
You can actually go to PGH,
Yes.
NCMH, no? Or any big hospitals na may ganong kasing unit ka.
Yes,
So,
correct.
mahirap yan. So, kailangan mo na talaga ng someone
intervention.
professional
Professional intervention na.
Yes.
Oo. I hope you stay strong. I hope you stay strong and get courage to really protect yourself now, because this is just beyond mental health now. There's actually physical manifestation of your abuse. So please be
Yeah.
strong. Tama naman si Ika. Seek somebody who's like a guardian to you. Magpatulong ka, a friend, kung sino pwede sumuport sa'yo. We have services also in the barangays, in the LGU, the police stations, in the police precincts. Okay,
Yes.
to my, are there more questions? Okay, kawawa naman nagka-transcribe yung ano. Habang nagka-transcribe siya ng questions. Marami, I have to thank also, kasi sabi ko nga, for people born like me in the MS-DOS at na era, that floppy disk, alam mo ba yun, hindi na naabutin yun ni Ika, tsaka si JM, kami ni Mami Sheila yun. Okay, putting up a webinar like this is a big challenge, but this is something close to all our hearts. So, parang it's so hard to put something like this without the not being tech savvy. So I'd like to thank Miss Renewed Youth Organization, founded by my daughter, Christy Mathay, and her friend Daniel C. Thank you for helping us with the tech support.
Good job.
They're a group of students from all over the world, and they offer an avenue for kids, for their members, to express their opinions, on social issues also, and they do not discriminate against anyone. They welcome everyone there. It's a safe space for everyone. Okay, siguro for the meantime, ito na muna yung our last question. What do I do if I'm being... i-review ko muna. Okay, what I do if I'm being... Okay, if I'm being sexualized non-stop, okay. What do I do if I'm being sexualized non-stop by my peers? I try to seek for mental health, but people say my reasons aren't valid and I'm too young to talk about it. Siguro, I think this is also dependent na, no? Kung physical abuse, physical sexual abuse, or yeah, I'm not sure what she meant or by the sexualized. It can be verbal, but either way, either form, di ba, they should already seek talaga help nga in in their schools. Kasi I think now the schools also, kapag may ganitong mga cases, they are obliged, they are obligated
Yes,
to
to
report to
report.
the police.
Of course.
Oo.
Yeah.
Okay. So, ayun. I think talaga pag ganito na, we seek also the advice also of a guardian or a friend. Ito nga, minamaliit siya. She's too young daw to talk about her mental health. Ayan na, maybe we should also still, it continues to the raise of awareness that, mental health is
Yes.
not something,
There's
it's
no
not a
age
small
limit.
thing, diba? There's no
No
age,
age,
there's
yeah.
no age, oo. But it's not a small, minuscule, insignificant thing. It is actually very significant. And in many cases, it can end fatal if left unhealed. So at this point, I would like to ask siguro our beautiful working mamas, Mommy Sheila, Mommy Ika, and Doc JM, any parting words for our viewers that can help especially the parents and the kids. So we'll start off with Mommy Sheila.
Okay,
Okay, due to technical difficulties, may NTRCB ba dito? Mukhang may narinig ako.
nawala.
Okay,
Okay,
Mommy Sheila.
we're back.
Okay, Mommy Sheila.
Okay, to all of our viewers, whether you are a parent, a teenager, how if somebody comes to you with depression and opens up, I think it's very important for you to listen. Let's not muna yung magja-judge, tapos sasabihin natin, ay naku, kulang ka lang sa dasal, or alam mo, makukuha yan sa inom, isang beer lang yan. Let's not say anything. I think it's very important for us to listen, to understand, and to empathize. Just give the floor to them. And then let's not also, I hear this commonly with children, no? They come to me and they say na nabibelittle daw ang feelings nila. Sometimes parents say, why are you doing this? Buti nga ikaw, nakakapag-jollibee ka nga, eh yung iba nga wala na nga makain. Because sometimes it's not about the stature of life that they have. It has nothing to do with that. Depression has nothing to do with being ungrateful in life. It's got nothing to do. It's a mental disorder. It's a mental sickness. They need professional help. Some of them need to be treated. But most of them don't even need doctors or any treatment. They just need you to listen to them. Empathy and compassion is key. That's it. And to me, for those people who are suffering with depression, or if you're struggling with an invisible war, my message to you is even the darkest of nights come to an end. And then, remember, the sun will rise. So whatever it is you're going through today, tomorrow will be a better day. Whether you like it or not, the sun will rise. Whether you like it or not, tomorrow will be a better day. So give it a chance. Give the next day a chance. So keep fighting and keep hoping. Thank you.
Thank
Rikki.
you, Mommy Sheila. That was so beautiful. Mommy Ika.
Well, just like Mommy Sheila, of course, just take the time to listen. Um, take the time to understand mental health and what your children are going through. Mental illness is not a sign of lack of faith, just like any other illness. You cannot say to someone who's going through cancer, may cancer ka because you don't pray enough. Just the same with people who are going through, who are suffering mental illness. It is not their fault. It is not a sign that they are not praying enough. You cannot pray it away sometimes. But faith remains true, that if you hold on to it, there's always hope. And God has blessed us with psychiatrists like Dr. JM. He has blessed us with medication, and it's okay. It doesn't lessen your faith. So to my advice to the parents, please just be in touch with your children. Just like what Mommy Sheila was saying, across the Bible verse, there may be pain in the night, but joy comes in the morning. You take it one day at a time. Get to know your children. Be there, and that's it. Love them and hug them. That's it.
Thank you, Mommy Ika. That was so beautiful
Beautiful.
also. At ang pinaka-beautiful sa aming lahat ngayon. Oo, tinatawag
Pinaka-maganda.
Pinaka-grabe.
Flawless.
Unfair, JM, ha? Hindi ka nag-attend ng
Bakit?
technical from yesterday, pero ikaw pinaka-fresh at bongga ngayon.
Hindi naman.
Magkakaroon tayo ng beauty talk next time. But right now,
Sige.
Doc JM, ano ba ang sikreto ng mga gwapo? Hindi. Ano ba ang sikreto? Ano ba ang pwede
Ano ba?
mong impart natin sa ating mga parents?
Ako kasi, wala akong, nasabi ni Sheila lahat, nasabi ni Jerika lahat. Meron ako because I always have this, poem na, really, it's close to my heart lang talaga, I'm pretty sure na you've heard about this poem kasi nga, that when we were young, parati itong ginagamit to, sa English class natin na ginagamit sa declamation, oration contest. I'm pretty sure you heard about Desiderata. Diba? So, this is a very nice poem about self-love, how, you should be strong, how you should be self-assertive without, imposing others, no? So, I'd like you to read that poem and then, hindi naman kailangan i-memorize siya, hindi kailangan, basta you understand it because it teaches you how to love yourself, it teaches you how to respect yourself, that you are a child of the universe and you have all the rights to be here in this world. Yun lang masasabi ko. Thank you.
Ay, parang beauty con lang. Ay, thank you. Mami Chloe. Ay, thank you, Doc JM. Si Doc JM yan, lagi nakakasama yan sa mga parties, pero tignan mo naman na lagi pala mag-isip talaga.
Hindi naman masyado.
Thank you, Doc JM.
Thank you so much. Thank you for having me.
Si Direk, ka lang daw si Direk. And of course, this has been a really heartwarming afternoon. It's been so enlightening. Sabi nga namin, nagkita kami nito, as long as we reach a person who really needs to hear these things that we said, it didn't matter if we reached 100 or 1,000. But I would just like to give you a feedback that we were able to reach 13,783 people throughout this webinar. So congratulations to everyone.
Congratulations to us.
Congratulations to our Team Invisible Ones. At syempre, this wouldn't be possible without another mental health advocate because pang ibang story naman. Pang ibang story niya.
I'm sure.
Si our direct now,
She's the president of JCI San Juan Pinaglabanan. This is actually called
She's also a mental health advocate. Have you gone through something also during her pero ano ba?
Presita.
Ay, hi.
Any
parting words? Any message? Siguro Doc JM, another webinar yun, ano?
Tama.
Sige.
Yeah, well, again, for those, syempre, we shouldn't be judging people because we have our own stories. Everyone has their own stories. And that's there's a reason why people are the way they are. So let's get to really know what's going on before we judge or what. Tama naman yung sinabi nilang lahat. And guys, thank you so much. It has helped a lot of people, lalo na our viewers. To Doc JM, of course, to Ms. Jerika and Mama Sheila. Thank you so much for being and joining us. So, aalis na ulit ako. Wait lang.
Miss Mathay, okay, naiiya siya. Okay, so pang-ilang decision po na dyan. Okay. To our youth today, stay strong. To our parents, ayan, that's her organization, her youth organization. If you are a child, if you're a teen who wants somebody to talk to also, who wants to express your creativity, they need PH, is there for you. Follow them on Instagram. And thank you again. Okay, hindi ko nakita yung face ko. Nasa yung face ko. Ayun, okay. Thank you again to my beautiful friends. Ayan. Pwede tayo mag-inuman later. Doc Joel.
Yes.
Thank you for this blessed Sunday. What a great and blessed way to
Yes.
spend our Sunday afternoon. May
Thank
God
you.
bless you
Thank
guys
you.
a thousandfold. And until our next webinar, for now, I pray to God that you are safe, your family, your loved ones are safe, and everyone who has watched this who has been touched somehow by our webinar. Thank you so much again. So,
Thank
blessed
you.
afternoon, everyone, and thank you for joining
Thank
us.
you.
Bye,
Bye.
everyone.
Bye.
Bye.